Okay, today we're going to be making a rich, buttery, super tender yellow cake from scratch. It's made up of moist vanilla cake layers that have extra egg yolks in them, followed by a super smooth, creamy, and not too sweet chocolate buttercream. It is so good. So to start off, you want to preheat your oven to 180°C or 350°F conventional and grease or line 2 8-inch cake tins. Today I'm just using my homemade cake release to grease my tins. It works so well. I have the full recipe on how to make this on cakesbymk.com. Set your cake tins aside for now, and next we're going to sift together our dry ingredients. So I've got 295 grams or 2 1/3 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 30 grams or 1/4 cup of cornstarch, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Give that a good mix with a whisk until it's well combined and set it aside for now. Now next, in a large bowl, you want to add in 113 grams or half a cup of room temperature unsalted butter, 105 grams or half a cup of unflavored vegetable oil, I use canola oil, and 332 grams or 1 2/3 cups of white granulated sugar. And then using a hand or stand mixer on a medium speed, you want to cream that together for 2 minutes until it's light and fluffy. Next, you want to add in 2 large room temperature eggs one at a time while mixing on a low speed, and you want to mix well in between each addition, so about 10 seconds in between each egg. Now next, you want to add in 3 additional egg yolks, and you want to mix that in on a low speed until well combined. So egg yolks are just going to make the cake richer and add color to the batter as well, to give it that kind of, more signature yellow color. Now once that's all mixed in, the next you want to add in 1 1/4 tablespoons of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, this is going to help achieve a more soft and tender crumb, and 285 grams or 1 1/4 cups of room temperature buttermilk. And then you just want to mix that in on a low to medium speed until well combined. Your batter may look a little curdled, but that's okay. Now you just want to get all of the batter off of your attachments because the rest of the mixing we're going to be doing by hand. So to finish off the batter, you want to add in the pre-sifted dry ingredients from earlier and fold that in with a spatula until just combined. You don't want to overmix the batter, so only mix until you can't see any more streaks of unmixed flour running through the batter and the batter is uniform. So that is our batter all done. It is so nice and fluffy, and it should also no longer be curdled. And now you just want to evenly distribute this into our 2 pre-prepared cake tins. Now once all the batter is in, I like to weigh my cake tins just to make sure that I have an even amount in each cake tin. This is just going to help ensure that our cakes bake evenly. And then you want to level out the tops, drop the cake tins lightly on the counter to remove any large air bubbles. And now these are going to go into the oven for 38 to 40 minutes, or until a toothpick comes out clean or with a few moist crumbs on it. So my cakes are out of the oven now. They smell so wonderful and buttery. They've been cooling in the cake tins for about 20 minutes just to allow them to firm up a little. And now I'm just running a thin knife around the edges to release the cakes from the cake tins and turning them out onto a wire rack to completely cool. Now if you take a closer look, you can see just how incredibly soft these cake layers are. This is honestly one of the softest cakes I've made. Now while these cakes continue to cool, we're going to go ahead and make a luscious, super creamy chocolate buttercream. So to start off, you want to melt 215 grams or 1 1/4 cups of dark chocolate. I like to use 50% dark chocolate so that it isn't too bitter. And I do recommend using a good quality chocolate block. So I've just broken up my chocolate into smaller pieces, and then I'm just going to melt it in the microwave for 20-second bursts at a time, giving it a mix in between each burst until the chocolate is almost melted. The residual heat will melt any little bits that aren't, fully melted. It's very important not to overheat the chocolate, otherwise you might burn it, so you just want to keep a close eye on it. So once the chocolate is almost melted, you just want to let it sit for about a minute or two, and then you just want to give it a good mix until you have a nice smooth consistency like this. Now you just want to pop this chocolate aside to cool for now, and next in a large bowl you want to add in 340 grams or 1.5 cups of room temperature unsalted butter, 375 grams or 3 cups of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 80 grams or a third cup of room temperature heavy whipping cream. And then using a hand or stand mixer, you first want to whip on a low speed just to allow everything to combine, and then you want to turn up the speed to a medium high and whip for a full 10 minutes, scraping down the bowl halfway through. This can be a little bit of an arm workout, so you can totally use your stand mixer for this if you like. And if you do decide to use your stand mixer, then you want to use the paddle attachment. Now, after about 10 minutes, you should have a smooth, fluffy frosting, but if it still feels a bit firm or has a lot of holes in it, it means that either your butter or heavy cream was just a bit too cold. So just heat the frosting up in the microwave for 5 to 10 second bursts, giving it a mix in between each burst until the frosting is a bit softer. You don't want to overheat it, otherwise it might melt. And then you just want to re-whip it for a few minutes. So once you have a nice fluffy frosting, then next you want to add in 50 grams or half a cup of natural cocoa powder. Now you can use a Dutch processed cocoa powder if you like. It's just that it does make the frosting a bit more of like a dark brown color as opposed to a vibrant light brown color. And I find that the light brown color just looks much nicer against the yellow cake, which is why I prefer to use natural cocoa powder. And then you also want to add in the cooled melted chocolate from earlier, and then just mix that all in until it's well combined and smooth. And then that is my creamy chocolate frosting all done. It is honestly ridiculously good. So my cakes have cooled down now, my frosting is ready, and we can start putting this cake together. So I'm going to start off by leveling my cake layers. They are already quite flat, so I'm just trimming a very small amount off the top. And then I'm also removing all of the caramelized edges. This is purely for aesthetic purposes though, so you can skip this step if you prefer. Next, I'm going to spread out a generous amount of the chocolate frosting on the top and spread it out with my offset spatula. My next cake layer then goes on top, and then I'm spreading out a generous amount of the chocolate frosting on the top and sides of the cake. And then I'm also using my cake scraper to smooth out the edges. Now to get a nice smooth top on my cake, I'm just using my offset spatula to bring that top lip of frosting into the middle of the cake so that I have some nice sharp edges. Now to finish off, I'm just placing my remaining frosting into a piping bag with a 1M piping tip on it, and then I'm just piping some swirls on the top of my cake. Now you can totally go ahead and, continue to decorate, do some more piping if you like, but that is my yellow cake all done. This yellow cake has the most wonderful buttery flavor. It is super tender and moist and pairs so well with that smooth chocolate frosting. I love that the chocolate frosting adds to the overall flavor without overpowering the flavor of the cake itself. The cake is so soft, and those extra egg yolks in the cake batter honestly add like a noticeable difference in flavor. And the chocolate frosting just goes so well with this cake. So I did trial a few different frostings out, and as I mentioned earlier, I just felt that this one added great chocolate flavor without overpowering the cake. So you can still, taste the cake coming through. But that is it for today, guys. If you do decide to give this yellow cake a go, then please do leave a review on my blog. It really helps my content out, and I absolutely love hearing from you guys. I'll see you in the next video.